Given 2 points, we want to find the midpoint of the line segment connecting them. So let's look at this example. We have the point A14 and the point B510. As we can see here, the midpoint is going to be the point 37. So how do we know this? Well, first, we complete our little right triangle, and we notice then that the x-coordinate of our midpoint lies halfway between these x values. In other words, halfway between the x value of A and the x value of B. The y-coordinate of our midpoint is likewise halfway between the y values of A and B. In other words, halfway between 4 and 10, which is 7. So how do we find these midpoints here? Halfway between 1 and 5 is 3. To get this, we simply say 1 plus 5, 6 divided by 2, 3. Halfway between 10 and 4 is 7, and we get this by saying 10 plus 4, 14 divided by 2, 7. And so our midpoint then is the x-coordinate of this midpoint and the y-coordinate of this midpoint, 3, 7. In this example, we have the points A minus 4 minus 3 and B 6, 9. Once again, the x-coordinate here will be the midpoint between this x value and that x value, and this y-coordinate will be midway between this y value and this y value. So it's easier to see if we draw our little right triangle here. And so this x value is here, this y value is here. So halfway between these x values is halfway along this line. Halfway between 6 and minus 4 is 1. In other words, minus 4 plus 6 gives us 2. 2 divided by 2 gives us 1. Halfway between 9 and minus 3 is 3. How do we get that? 9 plus a minus 3 is 6. 6 divided by 2, 3. And so we take the x-coordinate here, 1, and the y-coordinate here, 3. And so the midpoint is 1, 3. So to find the midpoint of a line segment, we get the x-coordinate of that midpoint by finding the point halfway between those x values, and we get the value here halfway between the y values. Let's look for a general equation for the coordinates of the midpoint of a line segment connecting two given points. So here we have the point A with coordinates xa, ya, and the point B with coordinates xb, yb. So we complete our little right triangle, and if you notice, if we take a line from this point and we extend it horizontally and intersect this line, we get a point here that's halfway between the y values. Similarly, we get a point here halfway between the x values. So the coordinates of this point will be xb. Notice all of these points have the same x coordinate, but the y coordinate is going to be halfway between ya and yb. So that is simply ya plus yb divided by 2. Likewise, along here, all these points have the same y coordinate. This point halfway between these two extremes is going to be xa plus xb divided by 2. And so that gives us our formula. Once again, I repeat, you should not just memorize these formulas in a mindless manner. This should make sense to the extent that you don't even need to memorize the formulas per se. You just know this. The midpoints have coordinates that are halfway between the x values and halfway between the y values. Note I don't say m is equal to open parentheses xa plus xb over 2. No, we don't talk like that. This coordinate is halfway between the x coordinates, and this coordinate is halfway between the y coordinates. That's how these equations should be read. Here we are given these 2 points, and we need to find the midpoint of the line segment connecting them. So once again, let's just draw this. And I apologize for not having a very steady hand. So minus 4, 7 should be roughly around here. This is just a rough sketch, and 11, 3 somewhere around here. And now we're going to draw a line segment between these 2 points, and there's our line. So to get the midpoint, let's just draw this more or less like that, then come across more or less like that. And so we need to get this midpoint, and that will give us something like that. And so our midpoint is here. So we need to get this value halfway between the x's and this value halfway between the y's. And so that should not be too hard to figure out, right? What will be the value of the x coordinate? Well, it's going to be halfway between these x values, and so this is minus 4 plus 11 divided by 2. That gives us the midpoint here along this line, and the midpoint along this line, which will give us our y coordinate for this midpoint, is 7 plus 3 divided by 2. So the coordinates will be 3.5 and 5. So that was not hard. Anyway, thanks for looking at this video. Bye for now.